To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so I'm back at the tiny house build again today, which is actually kind of surprising. I had to take the truck into the shop. It needs a new thermostat. I told you about that the other day. I decided I wasn't going to do it myself for a whole host of reasons. So today, I'm getting a really late start. So knowing that I was going to get a really late start today, I thought last night I'd go ahead and at least cut the angle of my next panel. So the only thing I got to do now is I got to cut out the door. So you'll see up here, got half the door done. I got to come around. So I got to cut that out. That won't be a big issue. I can cut that out. It's an easy cut considering all the angles I've had to cut. After that, then tomorrow I got one more panel to put on. It's not even a full panel. I'll have to cut it. And then the trim, and then yahoo! It's done. No more siding to deal with, no more roof. Everything's done. Okay, so considering it's so late, I don't think I'm gonna have a lot of time to show you how to put this last panel up. Before I get into them telling me that I can't build this tiny house by myself, I thought I'd talk about some questions that I've received regarding off-grid living, how to do it, how to get started. So one of the questions is, and I've talked about this a gazillion times all through the summer, was our well. Of course, this is a 130-foot well, and it's ancient. It was probably dug in the 60s or 70s. And so right now, everything I've done is kind of on a temporary basis because I wanted to get the tiny house built. Right now, it has a very nice water supply in it, but the well casing's broke. The well casing is a pipe that goes around the inner diameter of the well, and they shove it down. Well, what has happened is roots have probably broken into it, and so it's cracked, which means it's getting groundwater in it, and it gets very dirty after a rain. It's not hard to clean out though. What I do is I turn it on and I flush it out. I just empty the well. The pump pumps, I think, I don't remember, 35 gallons a minute. I mean, it's a lot of water. And then within 15 minutes, the well is full again. Then what I do is I pump it out one more time, real quick, and let it fill back up for about an hour, make sure it's plenty full. Then I let it run just at a trickle, about 5 gallons per minute. And I got a throttle in there that I can make that happen. You don't want to throttle it down too much because you'll hurt the pump. You want to make sure there's enough flow in the pump that it'll stay cool. And so I let it run about an hour at this 5 gallons per minute. And then I just fill our IBC tank, which is down here. It's a 275 gallon IBC tank right there. And that lasts us about 2 weeks. Now what we do is we use a little RV pump, and we can pump water into the camper. We only have to start this up every couple of weeks to fill the tank. And I never let the tank get below half. That way, if something doesn't work, like the pump breaks or the generator stops working, because I use the generator to turn the pump on. I just plug it into the generator. I got a 2,000 watt inverter generator that we use to run the well, run all our power tools. Well, not all the power tools. Solar can run some power tools. So it's right here. This thing is a couple years old now. We had it as a Nomad, and we ran it in Nomad as 8 hours a day. Now we don't run it quite as much. Here, the last couple of weeks, it's been really cloudy. So I've been using it a couple hours a day to charge the batteries. But I don't have to run a lot because the solar is still providing us with some electric. But I don't think I'll ever get away from having to use the generator. With as many cloudy days that we have in the wintertime, and as short of a day it is during the wintertime, I mean, maybe I can get another 1,000 watts of solar someday, but that's what I got. It's got 1,000 watts of solar panels, and I have 4 lead acid batteries, and I know a lot of people think lead acid batteries are a terrible idea. You need lithium batteries. Well, lithium batteries are fine if you can keep them warm. Above 30 degrees, I think it has to be 40 degrees. I can't keep them warm. I can right now because the batteries are in the camper, but as soon as I move into a tiny house, the batteries are going to stay in the camper, which means they're going to be exposed to outside temperatures, and a lithium battery will freeze. And if you try to charge lithium batteries when they're frozen, they can catch on fire. Now, the reverse is true too. They can get too hot. So I got to be careful with temperature with lithium batteries. Where lead acid batteries, I don't have a problem. If you read up on lead acid batteries and become experts on lead acid batteries, you can make a lead acid battery last 4 years. The key to lead acid batteries is that you charge them every day. I think they got to get up above 13.5 volts every day. If you don't do that and you let it run for a couple days on a cloudy day, let's say you got 1 million batteries, and you let them discharge down below 13.5 volts for 2 or 3 days, you're going to decrease the life of the battery. Secondly, is if a battery is depleted below 12.3 volts anytime, you're going to half the life of the battery. So if a battery was able to last 4 years, now it's going to last 2 years. If you do it again, it's going to last a year. Do it again, it's going to last half a year. And that's where a lot of people run into problems with lead acid batteries, is they don't know how to maintain them. But I've been very happy with the lead acid batteries. But we have 10 100-watt solar panels. They're 12 volts. And the reason I went with 12 volts is because it's just easy for me to understand. I know a lot of people think I need 24 volts. The only advantage I see to 24 volts is you don't need quite a thick wiring because you're running less amps. With 12 volts, you have to have more amps to make 100 watts. Also, it makes it easy for me to just replace components. I can go to Walmart and I can buy a 12 volt inverter, which inverts DC electric, which is what the solar panels are, into AC electric. I can go to Walmart and get that. So if my inverter breaks, I go and get I think a 1,000-watt inverter for 60 or 70 bucks. Whereas if you get 24 volts, you'd have to order it online. I can replace batteries quite easily. I can just go to Walmart, buy their batteries. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you don't want to buy Walmart batteries. That's all I've ever owned. As a matter of fact, this battery right here, I just took out yesterday. I'm going to take it to Walmart and replace it. This battery is just now 4 years old. When we were nomads, it's the only battery I had. I also tied it into the truck battery, I should say. But it's the only deep cycle battery that I had. It's a marine and RV battery. It's the biggest one they got, and it's like $80. 4 years for $80. That's not a bad deal. You can tell me Walmart batteries are a bad purchase, but I've never had any problems with them. You just got to know how to maintain them, and that's the key. Is it's easy to say, oh, Walmart batteries are terrible, when you don't know how to maintain them. Now, the things that we run on our system is two tablets, 2 phones, we run a fan, and we have our little mini fridge. It has a freezer, a separate freezer compartment. But the key to living on solar panels is minimalistic living. You just cannot live an energy-consuming lifestyle thinking you're going to live off solar panels. I mean, I guess you could if you had all kinds of money and all kinds of land. I mean, look how much these are taking up. So that being said, I should say that we can run an air conditioner off our solar panels. Got one right there. For a couple hours a day during the hottest part of the day when the sun's way up in the sky. But you really have to pay attention to how many watts and volts and all that you're using because you start running into the battery. If you run down to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, let's say, then you're starting to suck into the battery because the sun's starting to go down, towards the evening time. And so you won't have enough energy to get yourself through the night because your batteries won't have a chance to recharge through this whole entire build. I have had people tell me, I can't build this tiny house by myself. How are you going to do this by yourself? How are you going to do that by yourself? And I haven't had any help. The only help I had was on one wall. And I felt terrible about it because Carolyn's back is bad. But on, I think it was this wall over here, she had to help me lift it. I had a heavy door frame around it. I put the door in by myself. I put the windows in by myself. I made the rafters. I put the rafters or trusses up by myself. I haven't had any help doing anything. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, because I don't have anybody to help me. Two, I don't want to ask Carolyn because, like I said, she has a bad back. Now, she is doing the interior design because somebody's going to tell me, I'm sure, well, Carolyn did all the walls on the inside. That was her choice. It was easy to do. Those little pallet boards are not hard. I bought her a little hammer that she could hammer with, a little tape measure she could use. So, but that's like interior design. I'm talking about building the house. You just have to think, how am I going to do this? When you get a long piece of trim or board that you have to hold up, you got to have a dummy board there to hold it up for you. So you have to think things through. And you got to plan on not having anybody to help you. So, for example, when I put these panels up, what I'll do is I'll put a little screw. You probably, I don't know, you might be able to see it. There's a little screw hole right here and right here. I put screw holes here so I can get the panel to sit on the screw. I can lift it up, and that way I don't have to try to hold it and screw these other screws in and attach it. The screw is doing all the work. You'll see here that I got a little dummy board right here that's going to be taken down. I'm going to take it down in just a few minutes. The reason that is there is because I didn't have anybody to hold the tape measure. I could hook the tape measure to this and take it all the way to the top with the ladder. The smaller the house, the easier it is to do by yourself. That's the key. I truly hope I can inspire you to think small and independent. Thanks for watching.